the greatest opportunity I've ever had to lose my life was in marriage. See, marriage is about making a commitment, guys, to one woman with everything that you have. I travel around the world preaching. I direct a mission organization. I have a great deal of responsibility. The number one ministry in my life is one woman. And I mean that. One woman. She comes before my ministry. She comes before my children. One woman. I love my wife, and I think my wife is beautiful. Matter of fact, I love my wife now more than when we met. But here's what I want you to see, the difference in Christian love. I believe God called me into the ministry. And if I don't fulfill that ministry, I will be outside the will of God. I also believe that ministry is an irrevocable calling. Now, my marriage is much of the same thing. What do I mean by that? Oh, I think my wife is beautiful. I love being with her. But the basis of my marriage is this. God has called me with an irrevocable, inexcusable calling to lay down my life for one specific woman all the days of her life, and to serve her unconditionally, whether she deserves it or not. Do you see that? You say, well, that's just entrapment. I mean, you could throw your whole life away doing that. What did Jesus say? What was it? Those who lose their life for my sake. Well, I don't think He meant that. Well, then what did He mean? Because where you're going at has no cost. My friend, listen. I have walked with Him for over 30 years. Well, nearly 30 years. And what I can tell you is this. I've never lamented one sacrifice or one thing I've had to give up in serving Him. I have lamented many times when I have kept me for myself. Do you know what it's like to be a Christian? It is to be solely dedicated to one individual, Jesus Christ. And then when He brings that one individual, the only individual in the world with whom you're going to be one flesh, and He brings that individual into your life, and you commit yourself to her. And you, instead of going, oh, she was in an accident and she's terribly deformed, the very thing that attracted me to her is now gone. Or she's gone old, or she has become wrinkled, or she has gained weight, or she has done all these things. Instead of the modern mind, which says, okay, all these things, I'm out of here because I'm not getting any longer what I bought in for. The Christian mind says, because of these things, she needs me now more than ever. More than ever, she needs my love. More than ever, she needs to see that I think she's the most beautiful person on the face of the earth. More than ever. And it's costly. It's worth it. I am married because I believe that God has called me with an irrevocable calling to lay down my life for one woman. My wife, Charo. Do you see that? And a person is more important than a ministry. My wife is to be, as you may not know this, even over my children, even though I love my children. I love my children. It's a battle not to love them wrongly. But the greatest thing I can do for my children is to love their mother with a passion. If I want to have happy, secure children, they just need to see me love their mom with a passion, and they're going to look up and go, well, this home's intact, Dad's not going anywhere. They just need to see one argument for their heart to begin to quiver. What does it mean, according to Jesus, to love a woman? What does it mean, according to Jesus, to be a man? What does it mean? What am I supposed to do as a man? You know what the great evangelical community would tell me? You're writing books, you travel around the world, you need to give yourself all to ministry, you've got to do this and that and everything every day and all the... No, I don't. I go home. Why? I have a family. In the providence of God, my number one responsibility is to love a woman. And if ministry has to suffer because of it, it suffers because of it, because God doesn't need me in the ministry. He desires that I'm obedient. Bible did that for me. Saved me from destroying a woman, children, and a family. And then after her, what is it? I have 2 boys and a little girl. Well, you're supposed to be in Nepal preaching. Why aren't you doing that? Because I have responsibility here, right now, here, to 3 children in the providence of God. To do what? To teach those boys to be something their father wasn't. I pray that you will marry. And I pray that if you're offered the most tremendous job in the world, making 6 figures and everything else, but you realize you can't do that and love one woman, and you can't do that and disciple your own children and pour your life into them, you'll turn down that job and take something that pays half of that. Remember the cost of discipleship thing? And that you will love that one woman and you will invest your entire life in those children. And then you'll be an example of what it means to be a Christian. This is what we're talking about. This is it. Now I know that this goes against everything, especially if I start teaching about women. I know that, well, let me just throw some things at you so you can be mad at me for a while. I was with Vodi Bakum a couple years ago, and we were up on platform together. If you haven't ever heard of Vodi Bakum, look him up on the internet. He's a good friend of mine. He's a wonderful guy. He's like Apollo Creed, but bigger. And he teaches on the family. And these 3 girls were in this conference, and they were sitting there in the back. Just looking at them, you could tell these girls were sharp. All 3 of them. They're sitting there. And one of them raised their hand and said, well, all 3 of us, I think 2 of them were studying to be doctors, and one of them was going to be a lawyer. And they said, we're going to be doctors and lawyers, and we're going to be mothers. And Vodi said, how? How? We're going to do it. How? What do you mean how? Okay. Average doctor works somewhere around 75 to 80 hours a week. Lawyer, about the same. Who's going to raise the kids? Who's going to raise them? Who? I'll tell you who. You're going to hire somebody to do it. They're going to be born, and you're going to put them in a preschool. And then after preschool, they're going to go, praise the Lord, they're going to go into public school and be totally indoctrinated with everything you say you don't believe. And then when you pick them up from wherever they're at, you're going to take them to football and basketball and soccer and everything else. And what you're going to have in the end is not a family. You're going to have a condo where the people come in and they don't even know each other. Why are you having children? Somebody's got to raise them. But see, you have been told that as a woman, to love a man and to raise godly children with him is despicable. That's what you've been told. It's despicable. It is a waste. What? People say, yeah, you just want the women to stay at home. I stay at home too. I try to get to the office as early as I can. I come home. When I come home, we have a rule. And when I'm away, the children belong to my wife. When I get home, they're mine. Poop and all. Until I put them to bed, and I'm the last one to kiss their brow. So don't be throwing all this off on women and then just acting like some Neanderthal. You see, God gave a family even before He instituted the church. And see, here's a big problem. Some of you want to get married and they say, yeah, just me and my wife have a really good time. You don't understand the just tremendous blessing of children because you live in a culture that kills 4,000 babies a day. 4,000 a day. You see, and that's impacted you. How many of you young guys, man, I don't want to tie myself down. Like what God made was horrid You just want to run around in bachelor packs all your life, going to cool pizza places and watching football? Is that what you're saying? You see? You came in here thinking you were going to get one thing. You got something completely else, different. And I'm not saying this to hurt you. I'm saying this to help you.